Good midday, good midday, good midday. Wonderful. Sun is shining, but I thought I saw something. Severe severe storms expected this weekend. Isn't that absolutely amazing? Here we are. Fabulous weather, but there's a storm coming and we need to be prepared for that for this weekend. But please do not allow that to get in the way of our women's celebration. The storm should begin when everything is over with Saturday and Sunday, and all should be well. So I just wanted to say that. Okay. Okay. And so, good midday, good midday, good midday. Kathy, I'm doing the best I can. Shirley, good to have you here, Minister Sarah Jenkins. Bless your heart for being here with us on today. And so we're just overwhelmingly grateful. Lynn, Chaplain Hearn, Sharon, Stephanie, Tamika, how is ye's, how is ye's, how is ye's. Um, doing well. You know what's amazing is the Lord will send people your way who are about to go through what you've gone through, and so we're just trying to encourage people in the midst of everything that's going on and everything that's happening that God is still in control. Okay. Ella Mae, dear Tom, Valerie, bless your heart. Good to see all of you on. Dr. Pamela, bless you for being here. How you hanging in there? How's it going? Because I'm sure your patient is just as cooperativeness can be. Vernice, how are you? Thank y'all so much for being here. Carolyn, bless your heart. Thankful to God for you one and all. I'm sure he's going to hop on here in just a second anyway. So grateful, 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 grateful. Looking so forward to this weekend when the women come together to give God glory and praise. Just excited over the fact that the prayer breakfast is sold out. And so if you can't come to the prayer breakfast, show up Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Okay. Linda Brown, how are you? Cora, how is everything with you and Ewins? Okay. Pray that I slow down just a little bit. I just needed to get through these 2 weekends to do what need to be done and go from there. Wendy, Trinette, Elder Carter, and and Linda, we are so blessed. We are just so absolutely, just unbelievably. Ah, pray that I get through today. I have a very long day today. Pray that I do that. Pray that my knee will calm down. Not much sleep last night. And the funny thing about it is, it has nothing to do with movement. I can go up and down the steps, get on my bike, get on my elliptical, doing all this stuff. And it's just like when it's time to go to sleep, Linda Arrington, when it's time to go to sleep, for the past few nights, it's just been like, if I can't sleep, nobody will. And so it just has these radiating ridiculously strong out of nowhere on the sides, and that's the thing that I'm just confused about is, my movement is good, the pain of movement is minimal, but on the side, both sides of the knee and on the kneecap, it's been more than a notion. But guess what? I consider that these light afflictions are not worthy to be compared with the glory that shall be revealed in us. Ooh, I got to talk the word to myself. Okay. Is that what it is? The rain is coming. I have, out of all of the surgeries that I have had, I've never had indicators with any of the surgeries. And this is just, but you know what? I'm listening to you, Kathy. I really am. I really am. Lavonda. Um, there's just some things. And the knee is still healing. I mean, you got to remember, I'm 3.5 months out and I'm bouncing around muscles and nerve. And you know what, Shirley? Here's the thing that I have to keep at the forefront of my mind. This is the second time on that knee. Okay. And so it's doing, hey, Cecile, it's doing what it needs to do. And it frustrates me. Laverne, how are you? How are you? And and I know this. Believe me, I am so much further along than where I was. I'll sit down in my chair. I have the pictures of when I came home and what it looked like. Might be my new weather report. Gina, how are you? And so Dr. James, how are you? And so I'll sit there and I'll just start crying because I remember when I couldn't get in and out of the bed. I remember when I had to have a walker just to go to the bath. I remember, hey Mary, how are you? I remember, oh my God, I remember when Lady Harrison would have to take me to therapy and I would have to crawl into the back seat. I remember. Oh God, I remember um, what that was like, and to be where I am now, I am so grateful. I am so grateful. I still haven't made it to 120, but I'm going for 130. Okay, and hey, I'm doing what need to be done. I'm going to give God glory in it. And yes, Kathy, I am not a patient person, but I will be. Okay, and so when I think about, I mean, it just comes out of nowhere. And I know some of it may be medication that's in my system from before, makes me a little more emotional than I really want to be. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it be. Okay, and I'm so grateful. I prayed with somebody today who's getting ready to have a replacement done, and I just wanted to encourage them um, and all of that because the left knee is always worse than the right one, and we ain't trying to do the right one either. Okay. And Laverne, I'm telling you, when you get past the first 60 days, and it's just whatever they tell you to do is what you do. It's just what you do, and don't try to be the doctor. Uh, Listen to what they say. Listen, I got two things that I want to look at today. I got two things. One, I want to finish up about how powerful God is when we trust Him, and even in those times, Laverne, I'm trying to tell you, and ain't nobody's trying to scare anybody, but we're just facing the realities. I know you have a procedure coming up. Lynette Brown has one coming up this month. There's another young lady that I talked to today. Theirs is coming up this month. And I just wanted to encourage them, but I encourage them in the reality of what they have to face. And I think this is something that sometimes the saints become real superficial in, or really super spiritual, like God is just going to miraculously not allow some things to happen. And it doesn't work that way. Hey, Sonia Carter, how are you? Thank you for being here. And so when we look at that, we need to recognize that our trust is in the Lord, and we trust that God will guide and keep and provide and encourage and strengthen when there's not another human being around. Because guess what? I need Him to make my paths plural straight. I don't need one path straight. I need Every place I go, things I do, stuff that goes through my mind. Doe, how are you? You holding it down in East Liverpool? I need all of that. I need all of it, okay? But I got to trust him. I got to trust him. I got to trust him. I have to believe that I am who I am because of who he is in my life. And I got another passage that I need us to look at, and I think it will help us in understanding who we are. Because see, it's difficult to walk in who we are. As growing up, my father instilled in us that we're Harrisons. Now, a lot of that doesn't really happen anymore. That we're Harrisons. What does that mean? That means there's a responsibility that comes behind that name. Hey, Michelle, there's an accountability that comes behind that name. Um, there's a standard that comes behind that name, because that name carries weight that you don't understand because you didn't start the name. Oh my God. You inherited the name. And because it's an inheritance, which is connected to the struggle that someone who began the name had to go through to get to where you are right now. Minister Marcia, you have a responsibility, because that name carries with it a certain level of responsibility, a certain level of respect. Not that I had earned it, but because it had been earned by somebody else. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we don't mess that name up. Well, in Romans chapter 8, verses 16 and 17, Romans chapter 8, verses 16 and 17, the Spirit Himself bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God. I want you to know something. Um, my children will always be my children. Listen to what I'm saying. My children will always be my children, even when I'm not happy with my children or my children are not happy with me. I cannot change the relationship. What fluctuates is the fellowship. Now that I am washed in the blood of the Lamb, now that I know who I am, I need to understand that there is a witnessing, Minister Rhonda, where there is a witnessing that takes place between my spirit and the Spirit of God, that we are children of God. There is a common thread that runs through all of us because of who owns us, uh, because of who initiated the process of relationship. Because you have to remember, you didn't initiate this stuff. He was knocking on your door. We used to sing a song. Uh, I was searching till I found him, and that I'm not trying to say anything negative about the song, but in my own personal relationship, I wasn't trying to find him. I wish I had somebody that caught what I said. I wasn't trying to find him. Believe me, the last thing I wanted to find was the Lord. The last thing I wanted to deal with was the Lord. The last thing I wanted to be a part of was His church. That was the furthest thing from my mind. But guess what I found out? He, God, was more interested in me than I was in Him. And so in the midst of this, it says the Spirit Himself bears witness with our spirit that we are children of God. No, no, listen. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I hope you're ready for this. I hope you're ready for this, because I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to deal with this. But I'm getting ready to deal with it the way it needs to be dealt with. Because number one, I cannot lose something that I'm not responsible for. I can't lose my salvation. Jalada, I'm not going to lose my salvation. That is secured even when my fellowship has gone awry. There is that common thread that I told you about that runs. How many of you? Let's do a little test here. How many of you got saved and had moments you didn't live saved? How many of you? How many of you, including me? I'm gonna be the first one to totally acknowledge the fact that I have not always lived saved, but I'm still saved. And because I am saved, guess what? There's a witnessing that took place in my life that even while my fellowship had gone awry, I still belong to God. And listen, y'all, this is getting ready to mess y'all up. And it didn't even matter if people didn't think I was. It didn't even matter if people didn't believe I was because of the outward behavior that they saw. Out of all of the madness and craziness and stupidity that I did since coming to Jesus, guess what? It drew me back to the Lord. Why? Because there's a witnessing between the Spirit of God and our spirit that we are still His child. And because of the investment, okay, because of the investment that was put into our lives, I hear you, okay, because of the investment, Erica, that was put into our lives, no matter how ridiculous we got, no matter how out of line we got, no matter how much sin we accumulated in our lives, that bond and relationship was still there, even when the felt. Because guess what? He was the one that was talking to us. He was the one that was drawing us. He was the one that's saying, "Now you know, out of all of the things that you've been through, you know, hey Trina, you know that where you are is not what I've created you to be." And He drew us. Why? Because the Spirit Himself bears witness that we are children of God. And I'm going to deal with the rest of this a little bit on tomorrow. Woo! Because, see, it is difficult to be confident in something you don't know. Now, Ethel, this is not giving us a cloak of maliciousness that we can go out here and just be wretched. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that He loves us so much. One, He gave. Two, He drew. He said, if I be lifted up from the earth, I'll draw. Y'all didn't catch that. God gave His Son to die for us, and He drew. Okay. Keep it coming. Do I need to keep it coming? No, I got to stick to what I need to do, because tomorrow I want to deal with this. Because when you're listening to other people telling you you can lose your salvation, you listening to other people talking about if you die like this, you're gonna go to hell if you keep listening to some of these things. What it does is it shatters your fellowship with Him, because we all recognize none of us can live right without the Holy Spirit. None of us. And it's the Holy Spirit that draws, it's the Holy Spirit that teaches, it's the Holy Spirit that convicts. It is also the Holy Spirit that keeps us until the day of redemption. Listen, gotta go, y'all, gotta go. I see y'all tomorrow, and we're gonna do this a little bit more. Same time, same station. Love y'all with the love of Jesus, who is the Christ. May God bless you and keep you, is our prayer.